What if I told you there was a Spider-Man story we never got to see? One that could have redefined the hero we know and love. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 left us with a cliffhanger, a promise of an epic sequel. Today, we're diving into what could have been. The story of The Amazing Spider-Man 3, the rise of the Sinister Six, and even the plans for The Amazing Spider-Man 4. Stick around, because this is a journey you won't want to miss.
What do you got for me today, New York?
Peter Parker went through hell in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. He faced Electro, battled Harry Osborn as the Green Goblin, and in the end, lost the love of his life, Gwen Stacy. We watched Peter put his Spider-Man suit away, weighed down by grief and guilt. But we know Peter Parker. He's a hero, even when he doesn't want to be. 5 long months passed. Peter tried to move on, but the city needed him, and a new threat was on the horizon. Alexei Sitsevich, the Rhino, was back, breaking out of prison with the help of Harry Osborn and a mysterious figure known only as the Gentleman. This was the beginning of something bigger, something far more dangerous, the Sinister Six. That's right, The Amazing Spider-Man 3 was meant to bring us the Sinister Six, a group of Peter's deadliest foes, united under one goal, to break Spider-Man. And who was leading them? None other than a resurrected Norman Osborn. Imagine facing not just one villain, but a team: Rhino, Vulture, Green Goblin, Dr. Octopus, and others, each of them hell-bent on destroying Peter, both physically and mentally.
Bad Lizard.
Dennis Leary, who played George Stacy, revealed something extraordinary. The Amazing Spider-Man 3 was set to introduce a plot about bringing people back from the dead.
Spider-Man take this formula and regenerate the people in his life that had died.
One of the most intriguing aspects of The Amazing Spider-Man 3, Peter would stumble upon an experimental formula, one that could bring his loved ones back. George Stacy, Norman Osborn, all could return. Deleted scenes from The Amazing Spider-Man 2 gave us a hint of these plans. Oscorp was keeping Norman Osborn's head preserved, hinting at his return as the leader of the Sinister Six, with Vulture joining the roster.
Intriguing.
Following the reclarification by Mark Webb that The Amazing Spider-Man 3 would see release first, and the 2-part Sinister Six spin-off movie would follow. So let's dive in on the original plans for the Sinister Six.
Now that is an Avengers-level threat.
In the aftermath of The Amazing Spider-Man 3, Spider-Man grapples with the influence of the Black Symbiote, a parasitic entity that amplifies aggression and ego. This dark power proves invaluable when an ancient, interdimensional threat is unleashed, forcing him to reluctantly join forces with the Sinister Six. As the unlikely alliance attempts to protect New York from Dr. Octopus's quest for ultimate power, loyalties shift, redemption arcs unfold, and a race against time ensues to stop Doc Ock before he brings about an age of chaos and destruction.
Ladies and gentlemen, fasten your seatbelts.
The film opens with Dr. Octopus uncovering the hidden savage land in Antarctica, where he believes an interdimensional gateway resides. Obsessed with proving his genius, he gathers the Sinister Six, promising each member power, wealth, or revenge in return for their loyalty. Among the six, Harry Osborn and Flint Marko emerge as the most reluctant, haunted by past mistakes. Harry feels remorse over his father's descent into villainy and wrestles with his darker nature, still resentful toward Spider-Man, but open to redemption. Flint Marko, Sandman, desperate to make amends for the harm he's caused his daughter, sees this mission as a way to find peace. Meanwhile, Spider-Man, donning the black symbiote suit, grows increasingly aggressive, a shift noticed by his close friends. His isolation intensifies until he is drawn to the Sinister Six's plot. Recognizing the threat Dr. Octopus poses, Spider-Man strikes a fragile truce with the group, believing that together they may have a chance of stopping Octavius's plan, intending to bring the Savage Land's chaotic forces through the portal. As the Six battle the Savage Land's creatures, the team fractures further. Tensions escalate when Venom and Carnage, symbiote spawns created by Doc Ock's interdimensional meddling, appear as wild cards. Eddie Brock, observing Spider-Man's internal struggle, takes on the Venom symbiote in an effort to help save Peter from its corruptive influence. Spider-Man breaks free of the symbiote's control, his bond with Harry and Flint proving stronger than the allure of power.
I'm not asking you to forgive me.
In a moment of heroism, Flint sacrifices himself just long enough for Spider-Man and Harry to force Doc Ock inside, trapping him in a collapsing dimension. Eddie Brock, now bonded with the symbiote, takes a reluctant stand as an anti-hero, while Gwen Stacy returns, resurrected by Carnage, though amnesiac and unable to remember her past life with Peter, only to die again with the Carnage symbiote finding and bonding to Cletus Cassidy afterwards.
Marriage trouble! Already!
This was Peter's greatest challenge yet, facing his enemies while still grappling with the loss of Gwen. The temptation to bring Gwen back would have driven Peter to the edge, testing his morality, his limits, and ultimately his humanity. But this presented Peter with an impossible choice. Would he use it, knowing the consequences? And Peter's father, Richard Parker, was revealed to still be alive. Imagine the emotional impact. Peter reuniting with his father, only to face truths that could shatter his very identity. And then there was Felicia Hardy, Black Cat. She could have added a new dynamic to Peter's life, a potential ally, maybe even a love interest, but always with her own agenda. And let's not forget Mary Jane Watson, played by Shailene Woodley. Her role was cut from the film because the filmmakers felt there were too many characters and wanted to streamline the series. Her character can be seen from behind during a shot inside a cafe just as Rhino prepares his attack, and after Peter's listened to Gwen's graduation speech, she was supposed to be Peter's emotional anchor, reminding him of the humanity he was at risk of losing. This struggle would have marked a turning point for Peter, shaping him into a hero who understands that true strength lies in letting go.
You're the guy with the blueprint.
But the story didn't end there. The Amazing Spider-Man 4 was going to be a tale of redemption. Peter, having faced his inner demons, would rise again, not just to save the city, but to prove that he could be a hero without vengeance. The Sinister Six would launch their final attack, and Peter would face them not with anger, but with forgiveness. Imagine an epic battle, not just of fists, but of ideals. Peter realizing that true power comes from hope, not hate. And here's where it gets even more interesting. The Amazing Spider-Man 4 could have ended with a multiverse crossover moment. Andrew Garfield himself talked about passing the torch to Miles Morales.
Gotta be a black Spider-Man somewhere out there.
Imagine that, Peter's ultimate sacrifice in The Amazing Spider-Man 4, leading to Miles, a new Spider-Man for a new generation, each with their own battles, each with their own losses. It's a powerful idea, one that would have brought Peter's journey full circle. It would have been bold, emotional, and a beautiful way to expand the Spider-Man legacy.
Oh, I know it, don't tell me.
So why didn't we get this story? There were many factors: corporate decisions, negotiations, and even a few controversies. The Sony hack in 2014 leaked crucial information, making the studio hesitant to move forward. At the same time, Sony was in talks with Marvel about the future of Spider-Man. Kevin Feige proposed a reboot, one that Amy Pascal eventually agreed to, and that's how we got Tom Holland's Spider-Man.
Captain, big fan of Spider-Man.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later. Just...
Hey, everyone.
And then there were other issues: poor critical reception of The Amazing Spider-Man 2 and rumored tensions between Garfield and Sony executives. Garfield missed an important event where he was supposed to be introduced as the star of The Amazing Spider-Man 3, which didn't sit well with the higher-ups. And let's not forget his bold ideas for the character, ideas that pushed boundaries but weren't aligned with Sony's vision. Despite these setbacks, Sony had ambitious plans: a Sinister Six spin-off, a Venom movie, and more. But after The Amazing Spider-Man 2's lukewarm box office performance, those plans crumbled. Venom eventually made its way to theaters, but as a standalone film starring Tom Hardy.
We are Venom.
The Amazing Spider-Man 3 and 4 were canceled, leaving Garfield's trilogy incomplete. Sony shifted focus, giving us the incredible animated Spider-Verse movies, massive hits that redefined what a Spider-Man story could be. But their live-action efforts? More hit or miss. Venom found its fans, but Morbius and other projects have left many of us scratching our heads.
It hasn't happened yet.
The future of Sony's Spider-Verse remains uncertain, and we're left to wonder what could have been. The partnership with Marvel brought Tom Holland's Spider-Man into the MCU, and while it was a bittersweet end for Garfield's Spider-Man, it gave us a new version of Peter Parker, one who fits seamlessly into the larger universe. And yet, Andrew Garfield's return in No Way Home reignited the hope that we might one day see his story continue. Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man showed us a raw, human side of heroism. His journey from loss to redemption would have added a unique layer to the Spider-Man mythos. While we may never get to see The Amazing Spider-Man 3 and 4, the glimpse we got in No Way Home reminds us of the powerful storyline we missed, one that could have brought Garfield's Peter Parker full circle and left a lasting impact on the Spider-Verse.
I love you guys.
So, there you have it, a story of darkness, redemption, and a hero finding his way back to the light. Would you have wanted to see The Amazing Spider-Man 3 and 4, The Sinister Six, The Return of Norman Osborn, The Rise of Miles Morales? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more deep dives into the stories that could have been. This is your friendly neighborhood narrator, signing off.